Oh, monsters nearby, really? Get out of here. What? Oh my gosh. This is an awkward situation. Oh my gosh. Yay. Hi, it's KingT here, and welcome back to another Minecraft video from my single-player survival world. And today's episode is going to be a pretty special one because, as most of you guys know, recently on my channel I hit 100 subscribers. It wasn't that recently, it was about a month ago. But I still thought I'd give you a world tour video, just because. So we're starting things off at my starter house that served me well even though I never actually finished it. So in the starter base I have just some organized chests, or semi-organized that is. And it works. I've got my enchantment table, my anvil, and all the necessary items. Of course my bed down here. My first mine actually went down that way. It was the first furnace setup. Then I slightly expanded it and made this thing out here. I have this flower farm that actually works really well. Yeah, there's a little bit of bone meal in there. I have no idea why this is, but on Bedrock Edition, when the flower is one block below, it somehow like multiplies it all by 10. Like that. And then I can go here. So about 5, probably 6 bone meal got me a whole bunch of flowers, which means I could craft a whole bunch of light gray dye. I've got a micro cactus farm here that has been providing me with cactus. I just emptied that a little while ago because I need lots of cyan dye. I've got some nether wart, some bamboo set up, and just some basic crops and plants. The biggest farm in this area, however, is the gold farm. That did serve me very well. It got me probably 100 levels or so. It's just a very standard gold farm design with a trident killer. And then I put an item sorter on it, so it works pretty well. It definitely needs an upgrade. It just uses the standard trapdoor lava trick and basically instantly lights it whenever the water turns off. It's a very reliable and free design, that way you don't have to use like fire charges or flint and steel to light the portal. Now, I wasn't originally planning on this. I was gonna make a video how I dug out this massive area. I already did a lot of it, but there's really no point. I also did accidentally find a mob spawner down there, which is pretty cool. However, there's really no point in me digging this out. That was going to be the whole point of the video, but I have a much more exciting and actually useful thing to dig out that I'm going to showcase later in this video. But it did give me a ton of resources, which I guess is a good thing. Plus all my tools have mending, so the only thing I really wasted was time. The other noteworthy thing is that I cleared an entire forest here, because originally my base was going to be in this area, until I decided to move it to where it is now. So, over here I've got lots of grass and dirt, and also a lot of wood, and a few random pieces of junk. So that's about it for the overworld in this part, and now it's time to go to the nether. So to give you an idea of what happened when I came through the portal for the first time, there's a fortress right here, right by my house, which means easy fortress farm. It's in a pretty good spot. There's probably some spawn proofing that needs to be done in order to turn it into a fortress farm. I believe that there's a blaze spawner down here too. I'm not going to land because fortresses are scary, but this will be turned into a farm at some point. And I've already made 2 farms in the nether. The first one is the starter hoglin farm. It actually does provide me with a decent food source whenever I go AFK at the other farm, which is the piglin bartering station. Now this thing is actually really OP, got me a lot of stuff. I do kind of just pick out the stuff that I actually want to keep. So that's everything, put the books and basically a lot of the non-stackables as well as the useless things. I don't usually keep the crying obsidian. The soul sand and gravel's kind of useless. Before I go check out some other stuff, I'm gonna actually go down this way, which most of you didn't know about. But I did some work over here on a live stream a while back, and I was working with some villagers. Now these villagers actually will get used. I promise you that. There's a nitwit down there. And then through here was my first attempt at a villager trading hall, but it didn't go so well. I started building out a villager trading hall out of smooth stone, which kind of looked okay, but then I ran out, so I started building the ugliest thing I've ever built. Yes, there's this one lonely villager here. The reason is because I accidentally built this on a chunk border, and one day when I came through, the villagers all woke up, and they all suffocated. That would have never happened if it wasn't on a chunk border. So the last spot before I go over to the main base area is actually going to be down here. The first stop down this tunnel, down this way, is to the portal that is right over there. And I can go through this portal. Usually there's a ghast trying to kill me, I need to fix that. But I come out at a village where I've built the second prototype for a villager trading hall. This one's worked a lot better, and all the villagers are still thriving in here. I would much prefer to have a thriving village inside where they have some level of freedom versus locking them all up in individual cells. And I actually have done a lot of villager trading here. A lot of it is off camera, however, because a lot of you aren't going to notice this, and that. Yeah, I've been trading diamond tools and armor with these guys. It's actually pretty cheap, considering I have one of the most OP emerald farms in the entire game, which we'll get to in a minute. You'll also notice that I have a ton of fishermen in here, and that's because the best farm in the game that I have managed to build provides you with way too many fish. But before we go look at those farms, oh no. The last stop before I go back over to the main area is down this way, and this crimson plank pillar marks the entry spot down this janky tunnel to a portal here, and this portal leads to yet another portal. Yes, this is my end, which I've done pretty much nothing with, except make a wither killer. So here is my wither killer. All I have to do is place the soul sand on this T shape, and then the heads go on the side of it. And this is also where, in the main series, I battled the wither and actually won without dying. However, besides the wither killer, I haven't done anything with the end. And I spawn in the villager trading hall. That's actually perfectly okay. It's closer to where I need to be anyways. I don't recommend flying while on fire. It's definitely annoying. So I connected this tunnel to the villager portal, and it goes down this way. It's always a ghast ruining my day. And as soon as you kill one, another spawns. And down this big tunnel, which will eventually have a nice looking tunnel that resembles this, is this portal. And this portal takes us to what will be the main base. This is my main project for this series. I don't think that this project is ever going to end. It's constantly expanding, and there are many more things to build in this area. So why don't I start with the thing that came first, the Guardian Farm. So up here's the AFK spot. If I turn on this lever, then the overworld mode is activated. Sometimes the guardians try to shoot you, but they die first and never get to actually hurt you. And then the items come through a very complicated water stream all the way up to the AFK spot, where I set up an item filter to sort through all of the items. All my stuff is mended, there's no point in staying up here, so I'm going to take you down into the Guardian Farm, where I don't usually go. But there is a lot of redstone and water stream. It's kind of a mess down here, but in a way, I really enjoy being down here and how it looks, seeing it in action. To me, it just looks pretty cool. I'm going to turn off the Guardian Farm for now, at least the overworld version. Now I can turn on the Nether version, and this one is a lot more fun to use. I like to use the overworld mode for AFKing, and I feel like getting some building materials and XP at the same time. But if I want to mend all my tools after a long mining session, and I only have a few minutes, I press this button. And when I press the button, the redstone lamp will light up, and when it turns off, that means I need to go to the Nether. The redstone lamp will stay on for about a minute, but it only needs a minute, and you're gonna see why. While I'm up here, I can show you the chest monster that has been appearing all over the place. There's just random junk in all of these, except for the guardian drops. There's a lot of sea lanterns. I definitely need you to let me know what to do with the sea lanterns in the comments. Please, I need help. It's a real problem. I have plans for the dark prismarine and most of the prismarine bricks too, so you can still give me suggestions. However, I don't need your help deciding what to do with those. If I come down here, you can see the item filter and all of the chests that sort out the items. Way too many fish and prismarine crystals because fish are kinda useless except for trading with villagers. And the prismarine crystals are only useful for sea lanterns, and like I said, I already have way too many. So the lamp is turned off, which means now it's time to go to the nether. And once I get to the nether, you're gonna see why it only needs a minute. Because as soon as I step through the portal, it actually usually has a lot more guardians than this, and lags the game even more. But I think that's because I was moving around up there. If I just stay still, then the most spawn. And there's a big magma cube in here. I'm gonna ignore him because he can't see me. And if I go ahead and stand here, you can see that these trident killers, I believe there are 8 of them, start hitting away at the guardians, and the XP bar goes up really fast. This is why it's the best farm. It gives me tons and tons of building materials, some of my favorites like prismarine bricks, sea lanterns, and dark prismarine, as well as being the best XP farm you could possibly build. I don't usually like to build furnace bank XP farms because those just feel cheaty to me most of the time. Okay, that's the last of the guardians cleaned up. And you can see that it does produce some items in here, but it's not as much because I don't use it quite as often as the overworld mode. Sometimes a bunch of ghost XP like that will just get stuck in there. There's nothing you can really do about that. It's a bug on Bedrock Edition, needs to be fixed. So I'm back in the overworld at the main base. And this whole place is going to be decorated eventually, but this is what I've got so far. I think it'll come out pretty nice. This whole middle section with the Guardian Farm is going to be a massive skyscraper. And it's going to have a lot of my basic necessities, like a storage system, a super smelter, and those kind of things. Each of the larger farms, like the squid farm and the mob farm, and eventually I'm going to have a farm tower for all of the smaller farms like sugarcane and even some of the newer 1.17 items. All of those farms are going to have their own skyscrapers. Also, an iron farm is going to go somewhere over here as well, and that's going to have its own skyscraper. Now is a good time to check on the squid farm. So, like I said, this one's going to have a skyscraper around it too. This one's probably the most likely to be done first, because I already have the design completely worked out. Versus these two, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I do know the block palette for this middle one, but I don't have any design set in stone. But this one I've already got a plan for. And this one does actually, it's pretty efficient because it's a 20 by 20 squid farm. However, I just did empty all the ink sacs to make dark prismarine. And what's ironic about this one is that I'm using the materials I get, like the black ink, and the bones to build the skyscraper for the farm. I've already collected a whole bunch of materials. I need the ink for the black wool, and obviously lots and lots of bone blocks. The only thing that doesn't count is a smooth stone. And yes, you can make light gray stained glass from the bones and the ink sacs. Next up is the mob farm, which I actually built in the last episode. And this thing is probably the best mob farm I've ever built on Bedrock Edition. Because the way it works is it uses scaffolding with water on top of it to push the mobs out and then down into a trident killer. Look how quickly all those mobs just spawned. Let's see, it doesn't look like there's any over here. They come in waves. But I don't really care about drops right now because I'm doing the world tour. But normally that trident killer would be on and filtering all the items down here. Eventually I will put in a soul sand elevator to bring the XP and items up to the top. However, there are just more important things for me to be doing, like actually building new farms. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do that part, the item storage and collection system with soul sand on camera in a video, or just on live stream or off camera. I also did work out a pretty cool floor pattern for this farm. It uses dark prismarine, bone blocks, and sea lanterns. I get a lot of bones from this farm too, which means bone blocks are kind of an easy thing to get. So next up on the tour is by far the most frustrating farm I have ever made. And ironically, it's broken, again. But it's not for the reason you think. I actually have been doing a lot of work on this off camera. I spawn-proofed this entire thing with leaves, but it's all gonna get destroyed anyways. I've marked out a circle, and I thought it'd be really neat if I turned this raid farm into something a little bit more than just a pillager outpost with a box on top of it, covered in leaves. Of course there's still gonna have to be leaves and scaffolding in some places, so that the raiders don't spawn. But the plan I have for this is gonna be for a future episode. I would like it to be a surprise. I came here to show you that while it is the most frustrating farm, don't worry, the villager's still alive. It still will work. The reason it's broken is because the leaves are missing. And they would spawn on this prismarine and destroy all the leaves, making more spawn spots down here, when then they'll destroy more leaves, so I'm just not going to use this thing for the time being, until I can get started on my project. But I did put in an item sorter, which sorted out lots and lots of emeralds. Yep, this is why I don't even need to zombify any villagers at all, because I can just buy them all out. Because I have almost 8 stacks of emerald blocks, an entire double chest full as well. Not to mention tons and tons of enchanted books, totems of undying, more books, more totems. This one's garbage. And then I can pull out any books that I want from this system here. The way it works is that I sort out the emeralds, the arrows, I don't know why I'm sorting out the arrows, the gunpowder, and the redstone. Basically all the useful things. Ow, go away. Thank you. And then all the other non-stackables and things that aren't valuable, like sugar and spider eyes, will end up in this system here, with the ability to store probably around 2 hours of AFK. And when I can sort out any of the books I need, and if I for some reason need to grab more totems than I already have over here in these chests here, then once I'm done sorting out everything that I want to keep, I just flick this lever and it all gets dispensed onto a cactus that's hidden down there. I didn't want to use lava because it might burn down all the leaves. Like I said, I have a plan for this farm. I can't do a demonstration on camera right now because it'd probably break itself even more, but I've got a huge plan for this. You guys are gonna love it, I promise. Now, there's actually only one more thing that I need to show on tour. So I'm just gonna fly back to the main base, just to give you a perspective of where it is in comparison to everything. Conveniently, I found a witch hut, and if I go down this way, I haven't shown this on camera yet, it's just a little bit of a flight over the ocean. Diagonally out from my main base, I pass an ice spikes biome that should be coming up right here. There's the swamp actually, there's the ice spikes. And here's the witch farm. Witch farms on Bedrock Edition are actually really easy to make, so I didn't even think this was worth having a video. Until now. Obviously, when I wanted to show everything. It got me a little bit of gunpowder and redstone, more than the raid farm did. But if I want gunpowder, I'm just gonna go AFK at the mob farm. That has much better rates on it. I probably only get 2 stacks an hour from this witch farm, which is enough for like rockets and stuff. But I do want a lot more for this series. If you have any suggestions on how you want me to decorate or theme this witch farm in any way, the only condition is that there's a trident killer that has to stay here. Storage can move around. There's just one spawn spot, if you didn't know how witches worked. Hi, I'm just gonna kill you real quick. But basically the glass just pushes him into the trident killer. I have magma blocks so I can get fire resistance potions. And it just has to be dark, and then I just go up. I went up about 40 blocks. So as the main base is coming into view, it's time to explain my overall plan for this area. I do not plan on resetting this world at all. I'm probably, as long as I'm physically and technically able to, I'm gonna keep this world around. Which means that this base is gonna be epic. I don't want to get into too many details because I want a lot of it to be a surprise. A lot of you have already figured this out, but my overall plan for this area is to make a floating city. Yeah, big surprise with the roads and the sidewalks. That's why I said skyscrapers around each of these farms. I'm gonna have a skyscraper that I think is gonna go right there, with the smaller farms like a melon and pumpkin farm, sugarcane farm, some kelp and bamboo farms, because I don't need giant flying machine farms. The other big farm that I'm planning on adding as of now is an iron farm over here. And I also do need a little bit of help and suggestions with some farms to go over here. Besides some of the smaller stuff, I have been trying to think as hard as I can. I can't really think of anything that would go good with the farms I already have. Nether farms don't really count because they're not in part of the base. So anything that works in the overworld, and I haven't built one yet. I did the other day come up with an idea for one of the near future videos, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and that's to put another gold farm, but a bigger, more efficient one over in this area too. Hopefully if it's off, it won't cause any lag. So that can go in one of the spaces around here, and then I have plenty of space to expand out. You know, now that I'm thinking of it, a large-scale bamboo farm and sugarcane farm probably wouldn't even cause that much lag. So I could probably build some of those too. But anyways, let me know any suggestions you guys have. And I think that's gonna just about do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe. These videos take quite a lot of work. And I will see you in the next one. KingT out.